Part 6. Class competition or class alliance.
So as capitalism unfolds, middle and working classes converge, not on a single point, but into a general economic system of overlapping labour forms, content, and operating relationships. The distinction between direct and indirect production is submerged in a sea of revolutionary new fixed capital, electrification, air travel, electronics, global communications, and so on, and the social differences between working class and middle class narrow. Where there was once a clear opposition of mental and manual labour and their associated classes and cultures, now there are globe-spanning chains of products and services, of complex tasks and interrelated responsibilities. At the same time, the internal organisation of businesses that are jointly run by the descendants of a distinct professional technical middle class and an increasingly skilled working class is likely to resemble less the bureaucratic hierarchies of specialists of traditional industrial organisations than the agile forms towards which professional and technical organisations of all kinds are increasingly migrating. In short, from a technical point of view, the boundaries between the historically different and opposed classes of workers' respective worlds are being erased to be replaced not by an undifferentiated mass, but by a complex totality of interrelated roles and responsibilities. The previously localized hierarchical structures controlling the relations between successive tasks are augmented and transformed by trans-organizational chains in which specialists and generalists of all kinds interact, if not directly or as formal equals, then certainly as objectively dependent on one another to perform any of their roles and realize any of their corporate functions. Eventually, the only remaining obstacle to their unity, in fact, if not in their individual consciousnesses, will be their conflicting roles in the capitalist business, which is to say, as exploiters and exploited. However, exactly how such relations of exploitation are to be sustained when they are constantly being undermined and often overtly contradicted by the technical requirements of the system as a whole is not clear, or at least not in terms that are compatible with capitalist relations of production. On the other hand, that such positions should persist is essential if the system as a whole is to remain capitalist. But at the same time, it is only the persistence of capitalism that requires this relationship of exploiters to exploited to endure. By contrast, the requirements of these developed technical relations of production can only be sustained where the business relations of production are overthrown. So perhaps progressive unification of working and middle classes is part, only a part, of the growing contradiction between the forces and relations of production that engenders revolution. The conflict between the objective, organizational needs of the emerging economic system and the need for hierarchy to enforce exploitation. And perhaps, out of that convergence of organizations and clash between the forces and relations of production it demands, and with it, the unification of all the groups who actually run industrial societies in opposition to its current ownership. A fully organized, fully conscious proletariat will arise. After all, none of the essential features of a proletariat are lacking. They include all direct and indirect producers of actual products. They produce all value within the economic system as a whole. They are in effective control of the forces of production. They have established an awareness of their unity as a group, their relationship to the forces of production, their relationship to those who control, e.g., own, the forces of production, and a political consciousness of their own need for emancipation.